Hey, this is Kendall with BlackOvis. Today I'm talking about my essential 24 items that I took on my 2020 Mountain Goat archery tag that I drew. It's my once-in-a-lifetime tag, and I was super fortunate to have my good friend Justin Nelson along to film that hunt and document that for my family and friends, so hopefully you get a chance to watch that. If you draw a Mountain Goat tag, typically you're going to be hunting in October, November, or colder temps. I was fortunate enough to be able to hunt this in August and September, warmer climate, so this kit represents a little bit lighter weight and more warm situation. Jumping right into my bow setup, I shoot the RX-3 Carbon Redworks from Hoyt. I've always been a Hoyt fan. I'm Hoyt for life. I'll die Hoyt for life. So don't try and talk me into any of those other ones. So this is a 34-inch axle, and my draw length is a 30.5. I absolutely love this bow. And yes, I do have the new one on order because I got talked into it. Second, my arrow. I've always shot Easton arrows. Again, I'm pretty loyal. I have played around with gold tip, and I did shoot that one season, but this is the Easton Injexion Carbon in a 280 spine. This arrow is a 4mm. I really like the micro diameter, and I do believe in less wind travel and greater penetration with this arrow. Broadhead that I chose is the Grim Reaper Mini Mag 4-blade expandable. I absolutely love this. Is the Pro Series. Just a fantastic head. I trust this broadhead, and it's killed a handful of animals this last year, including this mountain goat. On the Easton Injection, I use the titanium half out. I stack it with the kit insert for the micro diameter inside. So I'm running that at 20 grains and the half out at 55 grains. So I'm jamming 75 grains up front for a little bit better FOC. And then out here on the back side, I run the Nitro from Pine Ridge Archery. This is the 2.2mm, a little bit lower profile, and I do a 3-fletch versus what a lot of the cool kids do, which is a 4-fletch, but I really like the way this flies. On my bow accessories, the Black Gold Pro Series sight, I run 4 pins with a 6-inch dovetail. I love the dovetail because, as you can see, you can slide it down, or what I often do is I pull it off. I put this within a cloth bag that I have, and that goes in my pack, so when I'm packing in, it's a little streamlined and I'm not hitting stuff off there. The same thing runs true on my stabilizer. This is the Microhex counter slide with the dovetail from Bee Stinger, and same thing. I can pull that off. I have that marked right here. It's the same every single time. Last thing on my bow setup is the release. I run this Swarovski, the Xtinction 2. It's a trigger release, and I've always done a trigger release. I really like this. The hook on this one, I had only used a hook once, which was the True Ball Fang. The hook on this one is actually on the opposite side. So kind of a unique situation for me as I utilized this release this last year. Absolutely love how effective the trigger is. Absolutely love this from Swarovski. My food, Peak Refuel. It's kind of become one of my favorites. This is Stowaway Gourmet, but I took Peak Refuel on this hunt. A couple breakfasts, couple dinners. I always take the long spoon. This is the Sea to Summit titanium long spoon. I don't mess around with sporks anymore, and you can watch my other video for my opinion on sporks. One thing I do to keep kind of my food organized is I use this gear bag. This is from 6am Outdoors. They have a kit that comes with all sorts of sizes. This is the one that I use for all my meals. As you can see, the Peak Refuel fits inside of it perfect. It's not waterproof, but it is ultra light, and it's a way that I can each day, if I'm backcountry hunting, I take whatever day's food I need. And then on this hunt, I took the Jetboil. I typically would take a smaller titanium cup, but where it was myself and Justin, and the two of us shared this stove, I had this for a little bit bigger capacity. It is a little heavier than a titanium cup, but that's what I took on this hunt. Footwear for this particular hunt, I did use my Crispi Lapponias, and absolutely love this boot. If I was going to go later season, I would jump into probably the Brickstall or maybe the Colorado, just for if I knew I was going to be in. I was in rugged terrain, but I also wasn't side hilling incessantly for days on end like I did recently on a bear hunt in Idaho. But the Lapponia was absolutely spot on, super light, fast, and still very rugged. Socks. I love the Farm to Feet. This is the Damascus. It's a lightweight crew height. It's thinner through the arch. Got a little bit of extra padding on the upper and then padding through the toes and the heel. Been a big fan of Farm to Feet for a long time, and that was the one sock that I took on that hunt. Sleeping, I slept in a hammock in this particular hunt. Where we were at, it was just super steep everywhere. There wasn't really a place where we could put up a tent. I'm not a big fan of bivy sacks, so I took the hammock. Thermarest Slacker was what we took with us. And I like this particular hammock because the material is a wee bit softer. It is heavier than, for example, the Sitka Summit or the Enos. But I like the fact that I don't basically sound like I'm in a garbage bag all night in moving around. I don't think I sleep remarkably well for an 8-hour period if I'm sleeping all night in a hammock. I did on this hunt because I was extremely exhausted each night. But I take this on most of my elk hunts because I'll for nap time or kind of middle of the day, I'll string the hammock. Even if I'm only getting 30 minutes of just kind of just laying down, I think I get a better rest in a hammock versus not. Thermarest Z Lite pad. When you're in a hammock, it's the strategy, at least for me, is if I've got a blow-up pad, I reduce the thickness of the pad up to about half of what it normally would be. But in this instance, I just took the Z Lite. It's great because it adds a little bit of insulation on the bottom side, which is where you get a lot of the cooling underneath the hammock versus when you're sleeping on the ground. You'll get less, obviously, airflow and less cooling underneath you. For my optics, the Swarovski 65 ATX angled. I've always been an angled guy, and this is my weapon of choice when it comes to glassing long range. For my tripod, I use the BlackOvis Treeline. This is a sitting tripod. It's shorter legs, just for the sitting. The angle has been manufactured to different angles than what we'd find on a typical photography tripod, so that it accommodates when you're sitting. And I really love this. A little lighter weight and also very compact, as you can see, versus the size of the spotter. For optics on the other side, the 8-act Bino harness comes with the rangefinder. I just absolutely love this for bow hunting because it is extremely quiet. It's a single hand use. I do find this, at least from my particular style of hunting, the most higher performance as far as when I'm running smaller binos. Inside, Vortex Razor HD. This is the older version. I've used the UHDs and I like the performance, but I love the size of these previous models, and I'll probably hang on to these as long as I possibly can, which could be for my entire life since the warranty with Vortex is so flippin' awesome. On the rangefinder side, Vortex 4000. This is the new one that came out, and I've been extremely pleased with it. So that's my bino setup for this hunt. On the meat packing side, you did use the goat knife. This is a removable blade knife. Don't have a blade in there right now. Also has different hexes that will match up with your bow or whatever you want to match it up to. Extremely lightweight. And I kind of go back and forth between fixed blade and removable blade, but this one seems to work really well. What doesn't work for me on removable blade knives is when you have a little bit of play. I have had multiple situations where in working on an animal, I've had the blade pop off, which is extremely disturbing and also worrisome to my safety of my fingers. So ran the goat knife on this hunt and really liked it. Do prefer the goat over the Taito. Havalon is kind of a go-to, and I don't think anything's wrong with the Havalon. I think it's actually a great knife. So I'll bounce probably between this one and the Havalon, but I always carry a fixed blade in my kill kit just for both the backup as well as the durability of a fixed blade. On the headlamp style, I'm a Black Diamond guy. This is the Spot Lite. This is smaller, runs 2 AA's on the front side versus like a 3 or a 5. The Storm runs a 4. But you also get an output of almost 400 lumens versus 200 and change with this guy. But the Black Diamond Spotlight, I like it because it's super lightweight, almost like non-existent, and does give a pretty bright cast. On the game bag side, I did run the Argali ultralight game bag. This is the High Country pack. I did really like it. In fact, I'll probably use this in conjunction with the Ovis sacks, which I tend to use more often than not. But I was excited that when we started offering the Argali, Brad is a great guy. He's come out with some really good gear. Trekking poles, absolutely had to have them. For this hunt, I used the BlackOvis Crestone carbon fiber. It's a 3-part. You can see I love that it folds up extremely nice, and I really do love the extended length. I find myself moving along the top of the trekking pole for different positions rather than changing the height. This is like a flick lock here, but rather than change that throughout my hunt or throughout the day, I just find myself moving my hand up and down. And so that's why I really do like the grip on this Crestone. On my camo kit, the essential 3 pieces absolutely were the Sitka sun hat. I think I look goofy as ever. I don't think anyone looks phenomenal in this hat, but it does its job and it does it extremely well. It's venting on the sides, obviously sun protection all the way around. So sun hat from Sitka. I absolutely love the subalpine camo and huge fan of Sitka Gear. The core lightweight hoodie, this is a must for any of my hunts. It's just an absolutely remarkable piece. It does have a face mask inside, which I'll often use. I'll just pull that over when it's go time. And I do like the extended arms. And then from the pant side is the Sitka Ascent pant. It's not my favorite pant from Sitka, but it is the lightest. And for this particular hunt where it was warm, absolutely just, it was perfect. I do run knee pads in it. I really like the knee pads, both from performance as well as just comfort. Last item, number 24 on my essentials from this goat hunt was the Mystery Ranch Beartooth 80. I wouldn't normally take such a big pack because I don't think I really needed it, outside of the fact that I was carrying so much water and a little bit extra food because we were intending to be up there 5 to 6 days. As it was, I ended up killing on day 2. So I was really grateful for that. But this, the Beartooth 80 is definitely a larger pack. The lid, I rarely use the lid on it. I often use the lid as more of an organizer inside the pack, and then keep that with the pack for when I'm doing pack outs or packing gear into the camp or out of, back to the trailhead. So I'm able to compress this down small enough, I think, for adequate or really good day hunting. So this is my kit of 24 items, the essentials, as well as my bow setup for my 2020 once in a lifetime mountain goat hunt. I hope this has been interesting to you, or there's some gear in here that you've maybe not thought of in a backcountry setup, or other gear that you're kind of researching that this confirms, yep, that's a great piece. But if you have any questions about any of these pieces, why I chose to use these, absolutely leave a comment below, and I'll be happy to follow up with additional comments and answer some of the questions you might have. But if you do have other questions about any of the gear we sell at BlackOvis, visit us at blackovis.com or call one of our gear guides and they can get you in the right gear for your next hunt. Thanks for checking in on this video, and we'll see you soon.